Okay, let's get started by talking about ethics in general. What is ethics? If you're like most people, you don't really spend much time thinking about the philosophy of it. But once in a while, it's a critical exercise that you need to go through in order to clarify your values and principles, especially with regard to the workplace. So, ethics are the basic moral ground rules by which we live our lives. Ethics is about right and wrong behavior with a preference to choose right over wrong. So here's the good question. Where did you get your ethics? Was it nature, nurture, or both? I mean, we all have ethics. You can't be devoid of it. We all have a conscience and a self-awareness that helps us know right from wrong. Do you consider yourself to be ethical? How do you know? Is ethics situational or absolute? These are very important questions that you need to sit down once in a while and contemplate. Now let's move on to business ethics. What is that, and how is it any different from plain, ordinary ethics? Well, business ethics refers to standards and practices in the workplace setting. Business ethics includes societal standards of right and wrong, business ethical standards and circumstances, and finally, legal standards. Wow, it sounds like a lot more complicated than just thinking about your personal moral code. Here's the warning. Business ethics is often more rigid than personal areas. You may be flirtatious in your personal life, but at work, it's harassment. At work, you can't decide which rules are worthy of following. You can show up late for personal appointments, but not for work. You can't just borrow things from others. At work, any borrowing without permission is considered stealing. And of course, you can't just say whatever you feel like saying in the workplace. You need to understand that ethics in the workplace is not subjective, but is clearly defined by your employer. So now let's talk about what your ethical expectations are at work. In the workplace, you are expected to play by the rules, abide by the law, be knowledgeable of right and wrong, give your best effort to the company, work cooperatively and honestly with customers and coworkers, to look out for the company's interests and not your own, and to show respect for people and property. This is what an ethical person does, and this is exactly what your employer expects from you. Although at times it may be difficult, it is expected that these things are done automatically, without prodding or training. For most of us, changing from thinking about ethics as it applies to our personal life to our professional life requires a change in perspective. Think of this as your professional perspective on the topic of ethics. You are a professional regardless of your job. You are expected at all times to behave in a professional manner. As such, you need to consider your professional perspective. That is, you are fair and unbiased. You show respect for words and actions at all times. A professional listens to others and gets the facts straight. A professional does not go it alone but seeks assistance. It is important that you have ethical questions or concerns that you are comfortable going to someone else and asking for help. And finally, you maintain your professionalism no matter what happens. Understanding your ethical expectations and then seeing how your professional perspective helps you meet them is a starting point for ethical success at work.